Never.
Hey. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to call to order the regularly scheduled town council meeting for May 6th. Can we start with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Fredericks.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Thier is absent. Vice Mayor Nigfar is absent, and Mayor Wellner.
Here.
Thank you.
Before we start to the agenda, I've just been advised to announce that if any of you are here for the pickleball appeal, that was unfortunately due to lack of quorum continued to a month from now. So not to disappoint anyone, but that means my understanding, and I'll defer to council, but my understanding is that nothing changes until the appeal is, everything is in the old way that it was until the appeal is heard. Until the appeal is heard. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I just want to confirm that the hearing is actually moved to June 3rd, not the next meeting, I believe. June 3rd. Yep.
Okay. Sure. All right. So we have called to order. So the next item is public comments on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. So if anyone either here or online has a comment they'd like to make on a non-agenda item, you have 3 minutes. Please introduce yourself and say your piece.
Hi. So good evening, council members. I'm Colin Crawford, a Tiburon resident of 15 years. I'm here to ask for a public open debate on the town's use of flock safety license plate reader cameras and a thorough review of the policies that govern how this data is stored, accessed and shared. It's not about being against public safety tools. Most of us recognize that when crimes involve vehicles, as many do, ALPR systems can be valuable. They help our police prevent or disrupt crime, identify suspects, and locate missing persons. But the usefulness of a tool doesn't eliminate the need for guardrails. The collection of large-scale surveillance data carries risks. Saying I've nothing to hide is not the same as consenting to have one's movements continuously tracked, stored, and made searchable. Tiburon has adopted policies intended to address these concerns, posting a policy statement on 9th of March. Policy includes limits on data sharing, requirements for audits, and commitment to transparency in line with California law. However, recent reporting by the ARC raises serious questions about whether those safeguards are actually working in practice. According to that reporting, multiple outside agencies conducted searches that may have not been authorized under these policies, and the police chief acknowledged that 23 agencies carried out potentially inappropriate queries. There is a gap, maybe even a chasm, between Flock's public trust policy and the reality around data access. The issues raised by the ARC deserve careful public examination of the response. Flock is no longer just a set of license plate readers. It's evolving into a much larger network AI surveillance platform that can integrate data from many sources into a searchable system. So given all this, I'm asking the council to convene a public debate where residents can fully understand both the benefits and the risks of the systems. Discussion should include clear answers on how long is data retained, who has access, and under what conditions, how sharing with outside agencies is controlled, and what independent audits and enforcement mechanisms in place. If we're going to use powerful technology, we need equally strong accountability in governments. I've submitted a more detailed report for the public record that explores these issues in depth. I hope the council will take the next step and create space for an informed, transparent community discussion. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any further comments on items that are not on tonight's agenda? Anyone online?
Seeing none.
Oh, one under the wire. Here it goes.
Well, it's not on the agenda.
I mean, against it. But
Okay, so let me just clarify. You have 3 minutes. Just please introduce yourself and and.
Okay, my name is Michelle Kelly Fogelman, and I live at 36 Harbor Oak Drive above TBC. And what I find particularly perplexing is that they get approval to have music until 10:30 at night. And I mean blaring music. I've even checked it on my decibel. I ordered a decibel counter just so I could check it. And it's outrageous. It's like close to 90. So they do about 4 or 5 of these a year. That means that if you plan to have an evening with your family or friends on your deck, forget it. You can't. I can't even hear. We have to turn on our television so loud so we don't hear it. And oftentimes we have to leave because it's so unbelievably loud. I don't understand in a residential area how this is permitted. And I believe that that's something that's your responsibility to look at, because there are thousands of people that live on that hill above that, whatever it is, country club. I lived above a real country club, so that's just a quasi country club because it has tennis and swimming. And now they have bocce, and now they built the big lawn, and they have and they keep building and building and building. So I find it, where's my time? Okay, I'm almost up. But I think it's your responsibility to really look at that because you represent the people. And it's not just the people that live on that hill, it's the people all around that area, and there are plenty of us. And if it takes me going door to door to stop it, I'll do that. But I think it's unconscionable, really, that you've allowed this to continue for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Seeing that online.
Right. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and move to consent calendar items. Is there anyone on the council who would like to pull an item for discussion? No? Anyone from the public who would like to pull an item that's on the consent calendar for discussion?
Seeing none.
None? Okay. All right. So then we will go ahead. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fredericks,
yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Thier is absent, Vice Mayor Nick Farr is absent, and Mayor Wellner.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. So now we're going to move to our, I guess, our one item tonight, other than closed session. It's a discussion item on the proposed development at 1801 Tiburon Boulevard. I want to be clear, and I know staff will explain this. I want to be clear that this is not a hearing in the normal way that we have hearings about development projects. It's a discussion item. And the reason for that is that this project is being proposed pursuant to state statute. And the council, this is not a discretionary item that either the planning commission or the council get to vote on in the normal course of a local project. However, there are rules under the statute that need to be followed in order for the project to move forward. And the reason that we're having this discussion item is that I know, we've started receiving letters and calls from people who We're concerned about what might be happening and thought it would be useful to have an agenda item to make sure that all of your comments and concerns were heard and taken into consideration as staff review the application. I understand it's currently incomplete, but we expect further submissions to be made and ultimately for the application to become complete. So this is an opportunity for everyone who has either an issue or would like to make themselves heard about the project to do so, and we're all listening carefully. So can we have a staff report, please?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Wellner and council members. I'm Sherry Meads, the Community Development Director. And you kind of summed it up in a nutshell, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. Uh-oh, it's not letting me advance. Okay, next slide, please. So as Mayor Wellner stated, Town Council directed staff to present an informational item on a proposed small lot subdivision submitted for streamlined processing and approval under the Starter Home Revitalization Act. Pursuant to state law, qualifying projects are exempt from discretionary review, and no action may be taken or directed by the council as it relates to project approval. So the Starter Home Revitalization Act, we call it Senate Bill 684. It's actually been amended twice, but the substantive part of the bill is SB 684. It was signed into law by the governor. And as mentioned, it creates a streamlined process for small lot subdivisions and qualifying housing developments. Oh, maybe it works now. So some of the requirements to qualify for SB 684 is that the subdivision must result in 10 or fewer lots. The lots have to be at least 600 square feet in area, and there can't be more than 10 residences. And the overall unit size of the project as a whole cannot exceed 1,750 square feet of net habitable area. So that excludes garages, they don't count, and basements, they're excluded from that. And no mandatory setbacks can be required between units except where mandated by the California Building Code. So SB 684 requires staff level ministerial processing, which means there's no discretion, there's no subjective judgment or a public hearing. In contrast, most of you are used to town development projects that go to the design review board or for conditional use permits, the planning commission. They require qualitative evaluation, consideration of community input, and exercise of professional judgment by staff, the design review board, planning commission, and town council. In this case, there is not the opportunity for that. This streamlined approach is for the tentative and final subdivision maps and any associated site plan and architectural review that would normally be either staff level or design review board, but we would have discretion. We do not have that here. So another law that this project is qualifying for or attempting to qualify for is state density bonus law. And per the state density bonus law, an applicant may request concessions or waivers from certain zoning regulations, including height, which is one of the things that a lot of the community has shown frustration about, that this project is 38 feet in height, and normally it would be 30 feet required by the zoning code. But the applicant has requested additional height to support project feasibility. Case law supports that, that they're able to do that, that they don't have to provide financial statements or anything. They just have to say that it's required to support project feasibility. Another thing about these two, well, at least the SB 684, is no CEQA is involved. If the project qualifies for SB 684 and ministerial approval, there is no CEQA requirement. So now I'll get into a little bit about the project itself. So this project was originally submitted on November 20th. it is proposing to subdivide the existing Point Tiburon Plaza parking lot, which is one big lot, into 10 parcels. So there would be 9 residential parcels, and each of the parcels range in area from 1,849 to 2,640 square feet, which obviously exceeds the requirement of 600 square feet. So the combined residential square footage would be approximately 17,720 square feet. Then the remainder parcel, or 10th parcel, if you will, is the balance of the Point Tiburon Plaza parking lot. So it would remain parking for 69,400 square feet. And so the entire parcel itself is 87,120 square feet. And I should mention also that one of the units is designated for a moderate income household, which is 120% of the Marin County area median income. So for an example, a family of 4 could make up to $223,900 to qualify to live in the moderate income unit. So again, the proposed project, each of the 9 residential lots would be developed with a multi-story, single-family residence with a garage. As per the law, average unit size will not exceed 1,750 square feet of net habitable area, which again does not include garages or basements. And the 38 feet in height that is proposed is pursuant to state density bonus law, which, as I mentioned before, allows concessions or waivers of certain zoning requirements. So where are we at with this? As mentioned, the application came in late last year. We sent a letter of incomplete to the applicants detailing what they needed to do in order to have a complete submittal. They and we're working with them to address all of the incompletement comments, and the applicant should be refiling revised materials at a future date, probably pretty soon. Staff will continue to process the application in accordance with state law. And it's important to note that approval of an exclusively ministerial project does not constitute a policy determination or the town's design endorsement. What it means is that the project meets the requirements of the law to be processed without consideration of those items. And that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so do we have any council questions for staff?
Yeah, the only question I have, thank you for that, by the way. I didn't do that. Thanks. Does the applicant have deadlines as to when they have to resubmit, or is everything just sort of at their own pace?
It is at their pace.
Thanks.
Staff, on the other hand, does have timelines.
Okay, any other questions from council? No? Okay. All right, so we're opening, this is a discussion item, so now we're opening this up for discussion for public hearing. Again, anyone here in the room or online can have 3 minutes to comment, and please let us know if you're interested and introduce yourself and come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
My name is Hank McQuinney, and I live at 111 Paradise Drive, which is the westernmost condo building at Point Tiburon Bayside. And the 22 homes in that building are especially close to where the proposed 1801 building may be constructed. So naturally, we're extremely concerned to learn that toxic metals and benzene gas are concentrated at unhealthy levels in the soil right at that building site. We are worried that these toxins will be exposed in the course of excavation and pose a hazard to those who are living nearby. The 1801 building would sit directly on land that has been used for 60 years as a railroad maintenance yard with toxic oils, cleansers, fuels. You can just imagine, with minimal environmental controls. And these toxic residues remain today. Just last year, a test which drills and extracts soil samples for lab testing described a hotspot, and that is right where the 1801 building would be constructed. And I quote, various metals, including lead, were detected in soil beneath the property at concentrations exceeding residential screening levels, indicating a potential risk to human health and the environment. Also, they noted petroleum hydrocarbons in groundwater and volatile gases, including benzene, exceeding residential screening criteria. This testing firm then recommended to the developer conducting a targeted excavation as well as implementation of a soil management plan. We understand the standard response to such known toxic sites is that the town will require a certified remediation plan from the developer prior to permit approval. And that's done generally in consultation with state environmental agencies. However, in the documentation from the town and the development so far, we haven't seen discussion of a remediation plan. Since this is a health and safety issue, not superseded by SB 684, it seems that the town has the authority to require a remediation plan. So we respectfully request that you will do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that to council's attention.
I don't know how, I can't tell how many other people want to go, but I'll go.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Happy birthday. My name is Doreen Curtis and I live at 106 Paradise Drive, just a few units down from Hank. I get the most direct view and impact right in my face of these units that they're proposing to develop here. If this does go forward, the view I currently have from the windows of my north-facing windows in my unit will no longer have any view of any sky or any hills. All I will see literally out my windows is not probably all the way to the top of these new 3-story units, which I know are supposed to be 38 feet. And I understand that the rules for how you measure will say they're 38 feet, but my understanding is they're actually going to be more like 50 feet to the top of the topiary roof building. I don't pretend to understand how that part works. So I just want to comment on 3 things. The first is the 3-story height limit and the density bonus. And I saw the second response by the town of Tiburon commenting that they hadn't provided any adequate documentation. And I know that Ms. Meads said they don't have to, but that's not my understanding. It's just they may not have to provide extensive detail, but they do have to say the magic words. They can't just say element. They have to actually assert that without this requested concession, which is in this case allowing them to exceed the current zoning and go to 38 feet, that with the inclusion of the moderate income unit, which is the only thing that triggers the density bonus law, that without including a 3rd floor, it would not be feasible for them to include a moderate income unit. They'd have to all be market price. And the only thing I've seen so far from them that I just recently got a copy of was the April 1st memo from the developer and his outside counsel, which provided information on how this was better for the overall project than digging underground, and they would get better lending this way, and they'd get $1 million views this way, but no mention of how any of this affected the feasibility of adding a moderate income unit. So I do trust that everyone's going to be looking at that, because I think that so far they haven't made a case. another thing I wanted to mention was the fire safety concerns that understandably a lot of us, especially those of us whose buildings are right next to theirs, care about. And I know there are a number of concerns the fire department raised. And I only have 16 seconds left. So I want to be sure those are all addressed. And then I do also share in Hank's concerns about remediating what's been identified as toxic contamination. And I'm not sure what the process is, how much of the responsibility of that is on the town versus the state. But it is my understanding that their project cannot go forward until that's addressed, and that it's wholly separate and apart from any concessions they would get under Senate Bill 684. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doreen. Hey, please. Please introduce yourself. You have 3 minutes.
I will speak quickly then.
Okay.
I'm Rob Rutledge. I'm an owner on Mar West Street as well as in Point Tiburon Plaza. So I believe this proposal, and I appreciate the situation everyone is in here on a ministerial review, but I believe it fails across a number of different parts. So I'll walk through those quickly. 4 of those are on the face of the documents, must be denied. One of them is the floor requirement. Even in their document, it states it's over the limit. That is a denial just on the face of it. 7 of the units exceed it and the average exceeds it. That is in the developer's own documents. 2, the height limit, that's been talked about. There's no frontage on Tiburon Boulevard. There's also a master plan development agreement that I'll get into further that prohibits that height as well, in addition to the height variance, which is actually more like 40 feet or so, given the lack of measurement to the natural level of the ground that they've measured. The next argument is on the density bonus. So there's 2 arguments. I won't replay what was just talked about in terms of the cost requirements. That's all valid. But the other one is that there is no density bonus available. If you look at how density bonus is calculated, it is calculated off of the available feet that are available to be built. If you look at the maximum allowable feet to be built in that area, it is already at maximum, even according to the town's records. If you apply a percentage to 0, it's still 0. So there is no density bonus available, even if they do provide any cost comment at some point. So those are some of the bigger ones. Some of the other ones that I would like to go through, the fire department, I believe those are issues that are important to the entire town and the safety. And I know our fire department will do a great job in assessing and making sure the safety requirements are upheld. 2, the illegal subdivision access, which I know has been documented in the town's response and has not been reviewed or responded to. There's the parking issue. There is not enough parking in order to meet the requirements of 161 parking spaces. There's only 93 spaces of a deficit after you look at what's being removed. According to all the development agreements, that is a requirement. And I'll get into why that's important later. And then from a CEQA unusual circumstances, obviously on an administrative review, CEQA is ignored. However, there is an unusual circumstance of a 66-inch pipe that is part of a drainage system, in my view, and I believe the town would have to do an independent study to confirm that it is not an unusual circumstance. Finally, on several other points, there is a parking easement that Bayside has. None of the requirements under ministerial review can go against any of those private requirements. And I will go very quickly and finish this off. Second, on the plan development agreement, that is a private agreement under the law between numerous parties that have retained interest in that. Under the development agreement, it is still outstanding. None of those requirements are, all the requirements of it extend past the termination cancellation of the agreement. All the successor parties of that development have interest in that and interest in all aspects of the agreement, including the parking lot. Consequently, all of the applications in that, the 161 parking spots, the 30-foot limit, as well as the square footage maximum are upheld and cannot be changed without parties all agreeing. And all of those parties would need to agree in order for there to be an ordinance filed by the town. And if the town has not filed that ordinance, it cannot proceed. And the town cannot file that ordinance without all of the parties agreeing and no mutual consent has been retained by any of the parties so far. Grade manipulation, subdivision access, there's more, but I've ran out of my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is anyone online?
Seeing none online.
Okay. All right. Well, I would just add, so we'll close the public hearing. I would just add that I think one of the things that we have in abundance in Tiburon are really smart and involved citizens. And I think watching this closely and being involved and talking with staff are all important ways, even in this new context, to make sure that things go the way they should. And so we really appreciate you commenting tonight, and we hope and fully expect that you'll continue to be involved as this application moves forward. So thank you. Okay, I think that's because we no longer have the pickleball item. I think we're
If I may, for the pickleball item, I'd like a motion to continue it,
oh, we need a motion to do that?
so we don't have to
Because
renotice
it's
the
the hearing?
pickleball hearing.
All right, sure. Do I have a motion to move it? When were we moving it to? The 3rd? June 3rd?
Sure, I'll move that.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Fredericks, Councilmember Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Thier is absent, Vice Mayor Nick Farr is absent, and Mayor Wellner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I guess we have town manager reports and council reports.
Nothing to report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you did. Yeah.
I just want to catch you up on what your 4th of July events planning subcommittee.
Oh,
This is just a catch up on what Jack and I have been doing to see what we can do to celebrate in town the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. As you know, there are a lot of large scale celebrations all around. So we've kind of framed this as a celebration week. So to minimize the impacts of people being out of town and on vacation in other places, and everyone who is going to the bigger events. So it's certainly too late to plan a parade in any event. Let me just tell you what we've been talking about. Before the San Francisco fireworks, which is where both visitors and our residents who are in town usually show up, we are hoping to have a small stage, maybe some music, maybe a small fireworks display, just depending, sort of as an introduction to what's going to happen in San Francisco. We are looking at picnic on the green with decorated kite flying, decorated, of course, decorations consistent with the celebration, maybe having that on Sunday, July 2nd, just to close off the 250th celebration. We're gathering the various groups here in town and what they're planning to do so we can promote that. That includes, let's see, the library, the Rotary, the Chamber, Landmarks, Arts and Heritage, and of course, the traditional Angel Island Ferry ride out to see the fireworks. Nevertheless, this requires dedicated volunteers, and that is why I am telling you where we are. And that concludes my presentation.
thank you. I say this whenever we have a discussion about potential fireworks. I will say that when my kids were little, one of the most memorable and exciting things that we ever did was I forget which anniversary it was for Tiburon. We had fireworks. 50th anniversary of Tiburon. There were fireworks downtown. It was just so wonderful and exciting. And so I'm all for it if we can organize it.
Well, let me say that I've already heard from the co-chair with me of the 50th, who told us, actually sent us an estimation based on an event she is planning, nothing to do with this. And it was something like $15,000 for, what was it, 15 or 20 minutes of fireworks. So the costs have gone up exponentially. But you know, some fireworks are better than none. And I am hearing from people too, that is what they focus
It'll
on.
be super fun.
Look
Yeah.
at this, everybody's
Everyone's
nodding.
Anyway, well, thank you for your work on
And
this.
Jack, yes.
Yeah. Okay, any other reports? No? Okay, all right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna adjourn for closed session, and then we'll come back out and report. Oh, yeah, thank you. One reminder, if anyone has any public comments about the closed session item, now would be the time. Thank you all. you see me at the next council meeting this way, there's a problem.
See, the problem is you're reaching, oops, go ahead.
Okay, so we're back and we have nothing to report. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
So you're reaching a point in life where your body.